Hey y'all, welcome to episode 2 of Tea Time with Tara. You have a voice and it needs to be heard. I am Tara M. Williams. Today we have guest Jason Nelson, and because he is so many things more than what you may know him to be, I'm going to let him introduce himself on the show. Welcome, Jason. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good today.
I'm doing pretty good today.
Yeah, I like the fact that you said I'm more than what people may know me to be, because some people just know me for being an alcoholic who be doing too much, going on random rants on social media, stand-up comedy, and having meltdowns.
Or a comedian. Or that too.
Oh, I forgot all about that part. I forgot I was a comedian
Yes, a
too.
comedian. Okay.
Mhm.
Community activist.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say community activist, but I am drawn towards community based on my personal and professional experiences, even in the midst of my chaos.
Okay, and I am the chaos coordinator, y'all. So I guess he's at the right
Oh,
table.
I had no idea, man. You look
Of
so
course.
innocent,
No,
man.
I'm a life coach and a chaos coordinator.
Okay, okay.
And so welcome and thank you for being here today. And so one of the things that I ask my guests on the show,
Mhm.
and we've just started out 2023, so you will be our second guest. And so one of the questions I ask is, what word from the ABCs to stalk your destiny do you need for your journey as you stalk your destiny?
Man, the word stalk sounds so uncomfortable, especially as a man.
Good, good. Good. So let me tell you about that then. So it's funny because
Sound
I go into
predatorial.
so it is. You know why though? Because so I'm a stalker. For y'all who don't know that, my company is Stalk Your Destiny.
Mhm.
Okay, and so the reason that I say that I'm a stalker, I go into rooms and say that, hi, my name's Tara. I'm a stalker. Because stalkers get arrested, stalkers fall out of trees, stalkers get beat up. They
Screenshot and
are
post on Facebook.
Yes, they are relentless and they don't quit. And the thing about being a stalker that makes it a negative is that they go after things that do not belong to them.
Mm.
And so in stalking my destiny and being a stalker, or you stalking your destiny and being a stalker, why is it that we don't go after our
I
purpose,
gotta be.
our destinies, and those things that belong to us? We always give up. Why
Mm.
aren't we falling out of trees, getting arrested, hit by cars for our purpose versus running away from
Now,
that?
for the record, I am a comedian. so, so, so,
You might
so,
need to be a stalker. You might actually be stalking your destiny.
well, if you put it that way, I am stalking, rediscovering who I am within myself.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
you're a
if we got to
stalker.
use that word, but it just feels so,
Yes.
especially not just today's time, but the awareness of how people view humans, particularly when it comes to men and women interactions and stuff. It just certain words seem so triggering towards things, and
So we have to change the trajectory of it, which is why you stalk what belongs to you in in your destiny, and that's something that you should stalk.
but this cool part of the conversation though.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because who elaborates on the word stalk in such a positive way? So that's good. That's good. I don't know.
Well,
You do the fist bumps on that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's tough. Never seen heard that before.
yeah. So I mean, the multiple words in the dictionary have definition number one, definition number two,
Mm.
explanation, definition number three, all those different things. And so, I mean, being a stalker in your own right, in your own purpose, in your own path, in your own journey, that needs to be normalized.
And I mean the way you put it, I mean it is pretty dope. It just like I said, as a man, as a human being out here, especially a person like I said in recovery and healing in my own walk of life, I've been hit with so many stigmas that occasionally have made me feel dehumanized. Not to minimize
Mhm.
how other people may feel or feel or perceive things. Like I remember I did a Toxic Boy Summer. I did like 17 events in 2020,
Okay.
and it sounded trendy and cool. But it was subtly about acknowledging my issues, making peace with my past, and I was ready to move forward. Because at the time, they was using the word gaslighting, toxic masculinity, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking? I'm just a human being, man. And then one day I had to say, no, Jason, you are toxic. You are fucked up, regardless of my intent. And that's what led me to where I'm at now, where I look more tired and worn out because I'm doing what they consider shadow work on myself.
And self-work.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And so in regards to the question you asked, um, it was two words that resonated with me. Obviously, I took more time to look into one particular chapter before the words. The initial thing that inspired me and motivated me to do 100% of the things that I've done initially was the word purpose.
Mhm.
Now, to stay focused, but just to elaborate, if we do come back around to it, the second word, because of personal experiences and being a former husband and a father, was the word success.
Okay.
And but those things um, can coincide before it's the things that had resonated with me initially. So when I first started doing what I did, it was inspired by purpose.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So you definitely need that purpose for your journey to stalk your destiny.
yeah, because when I do things that are not in my heart, it reflects it. I'm not motivated by money. I'm not anti-money. People think I had the potential to do great business, and because of my thought process, my ability to articulate my thoughts and my feelings, even when very intoxicated. um, but that's not what motivated me. And if you know,
So
going
what motivated you?
well, when I was younger, um, my mother is originally from Korea, and she went through a tough time. As a kid, I couldn't identify that and such. I felt this empathy for her, but I felt neglected. Um, and then she lost custody of me to my father. My father was very abusive, him and his wife. And then I ended up living in group homes. And when I lived in group homes, I remember a lot of stigmas that were attached to me. People like, oh, you must be bad or you must be this. And none of that was true. No one took the time to actually look beyond the surface and get to know me. And as I went to 13 different schools throughout St. Louis, city and county, I met people who were similar. I used to sit with the kids who were considered ugly, stupid, fat, gay, whatever. You know, it was a bunch of us who would sit alone, but we sat together.
Right.
Even though externally people perceive me
The
that,
outcasts.
yeah. And some of us created ourselves to be outcasts because I'm more of an introvert.
Mhm.
Um, Now, going through that and then living in the group homes and all this, I always just observed people, and I always wanted people to have an opportunity, just like your platform with your show, to talk about people's voices being heard. And that's initially what inspired it. 2009, I attempted suicide, and when I thought I was dying, I realized I didn't want to die, but I had this epiphany that I had to accept more responsibility for the way I responded and I perceived things. And I'm like, God, if you let me live, I'm gonna live every day like my last. Woke up the next day in the hospital, not quite sure how I got there. Um, but I had this vision for creating this company, which I have a company called Focus on the Funny. Now that wasn't the name back
And
then.
I was going to ask you about your
Yeah,
shirt. Like, tell them what the shirt
yeah,
means.
but that wasn't the name back then. But I had this vision. It was the three shirts I came up with. One that says "Gay," God accepts you. One that says "Thug," there's hope on the God. One that says "Size matter, small steps, big dreams." Now it's more acceptance now than it was back then. But I said, man, especially being black and being a man, if I come off any particular type of way, they're gonna look at me like I'm crazy.
Mhm.
And I said I need to become famous, even though I don't like attention, in order for my voice to be heard. And it was inspired by three things. One, I used to be an atheist, but when I start believing in God and leaning more towards Christianity at that time, and I read about the prodigal son. It said though he was a ways off, his father seen him come and rejoice. So the illustration, the way I interpret it, was that the dad was looking for the son to come back, and then he met the son where he was at, and they walked home together. So the belief was God to meet us where we at and go with us the rest of the way. And then when possible, as people, we should be willing to do the same thing. The thing about it is well, I mean, you do a real ass show, you know, and I love it. So the thing is that it was these two kids that I worked with in these group homes. One was named Jamel. He's from Wellston. He was big, black, 6'2", 2 some pounds, 20 some pounds. People were intimidated based on his appearance. That's where the thug one, and then it was the openly gay white kid that nobody wanted to work with. So I always worked with the ones that nobody liked, and
Mhm.
they inspired me to do that show. So when I started creating events, I created events where we had people from all walks of life, and obviously I'm skipping some time frames, but
Right.
where multiple people voices could be heard. That's what the inspiration behind my shows and events. Now, when I came back to St. Louis, I went from having a diverse audience in Kansas City to St. Louis came predominantly black, which is not necessarily wrong, but it's very challenging despite the fact that I do probably more numbers than most people here, is that um, the thought process could be very limited. So that's one of the things that I struggle with. But initially, the purpose. Even when I came back to St. Louis, I came here because I thought I could make a positive contribution back to the city that I was from.
So I think you gave me the
Mhm.
icebreaker question now
Okay.
for the people. So from what I hear you saying, we gonna kind of discuss this icebreaker before I really give it to you. But one of the things that I think should be posed to the audience or the listeners here, as they watch this is, and you guys can comment below, as well as you're seeing this. But what stigmas do you need to break? Or what titles do you need to change for yourself to accept? Because even with me, like I heard you label, here mention the labels that people have put on you, and because of the labels, the stigmas that come with those, even in challenging, the stalker
Yeah.
thing. But what labels do you all identify with, and what stigmas do you need to break with those labels? Because even just in mental health, being labeled ADD, for me, being labeled ADD, being labeled OCD, being labeled, with PTSD or chronic depression or things like that, right? So with those labels and with mental health, there's a big move to remove that stigma, right?
Yeah.
But I'm somebody that has used those labels, and I hear this with you as well. But I'm someone who used those labels to show people my strengths and not the weakness of what they think, and
Mhm.
so to dispel that stigma, like to break and shatter the glass of the looking glass, basically.
But I think it's also within, like when they talk about bipolar, I was diagnosed with
Mm-hmm.
bipolar. One of my favorite artists of all time, Kanye West, he had a whole album about being bipolar. Which I thought was a magnificent album. It's very beautiful to me. I mean, but I love art.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I viewed it.
Yeah.
I guess things within its proper place. And sometimes you don't learn things proper place, not because of what other people think, but
Accept it.
until you do use it wrong.
Okay.
Like you may not realize, okay, it's inappropriate to be like this or say this in this context until after you make the mistake or that
Right.
regardless of your intent. So to me, as much as I love Kanye West, and I will never speak on minimizing someone's opportunity voice to be heard, I hear him more when I listen to his music. I know he's more than a music artist, but I hear him more in the music.
Well, because
People,
his genius comes out in the music, and then he comes, like when he's creating his music, he's not in a moment of defense either. So it's a safe place, if you will. It's a safe place. Now, I mean, I haven't been a Kanye fan since the first 2, 3 albums of Kanye. However, I still know, anybody with art, anybody in the arts, when we're creating, that is our safe place. That is the place for our voices to be heard. Unapologetically, and without, unless we're having people review it, it's being heard without judgment.
I'm sorry, I just feel so weird trying to sip out this damn limited sip. It's like coming out in little small spurts and it's throwing me in hell. Like I should just got a cup.
I wish I would have known you was drinking. I would have joined you. You would you wouldn't have been
But
alone.
well, toast to great times anyway. Okay, somebody gotta be responsible.
Right.
But the thing about it is, like, and what I appreciate about you, and I'm pretty sure you discuss this with your audience, um, and is that your willingness to not only be honest and transparent about who you are, because like, hey, I just see this. I say respectfully, I just see this pretty face, and I hear all these, and it's great articulation, and then you get to telling people like who you are, what you experience. I'm like, dang, I wouldn't even known that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So that helped me to feel, which I think that's the purpose of your show and your platform is to help other people feel comfortable.
To feel human.
What? Yeah,
To feel human, but to be human as well. And then, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not this just I'm not just this sweetheart.
yeah,
Like, my heart is gold, uh, but my mouth ain't. Like when it comes to correcting people or challenging people, being that real life example of love in the flesh.
Yeah.
Teaching somebody is not always easy. And so, yeah, most people, you see me out, hey, hi, how you doing? What's up? And that's all they know about me. Other than, you might know I'm a coach, you might know I'm an author. You might know these little things about me, but you can never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so with being human, it's understanding all different sides of us, and also having, like, some people, like you mentioned, bipolar disorder. Some people have psychosis, multiple personalities. I
Mhm.
just had a conversation with someone else about dissociation, and what that entails. And so at the core of it, we are all human. But in being human, we have a responsibility and a duty to ourselves and to others. So
Now, what I like when we talking about the stigmas and the labels
mhm.
was as particularly, I know we just try not to think about race, but as African Americans, and I don't want to speak for every black person, but it's like we never, or we're just now getting the opportunity to be human, like to acknowledge we sad, we angry, we depressed, or whatever the case is, because culturally, and I don't never ever want to dismiss those who went before me because they had a different challenge they had to deal with. We're now afforded the opportunity to allow ourselves to express these things because of the sacrifices of those who went before us. Um, but as a man, it wasn't acceptable, even as a woman of color, to say, I'm sad, I'm angry, depressed. What we do, we have a tendency to push each other away instead of bringing each other closer. And now we're learning how not only to love or relearning, this is how I see it in the grand scheme of it. We're relearning how to love ourselves and love each other. And maybe that's too positive for some people, but being able to acknowledge our weakness, our struggles, and our issues.
Yeah, and the thing about it too, now, and I won't go too far into this because it's a rabbit hole that I tend to try to leave alone because so many people are so tough on their stance on it.
Yeah.
But even in that, we've had this whole battle of the sexes thing, and not just in our race, but period. If we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about black people, we've had this battle of the sexes thing where self care has become me versus you instead of me and you in support of one another.
Which, saying that, when you ask once again what was my purpose. So growing up, I grew up in 13 different schools, went to multiple households, grew up experiencing domestic violence,
Mhm.
child abuse of my own, physical abuse, sexual abuse, mental, emotional. Even though those things look different to different people.
Yeah.
If they want to know more, they can ask. Um,
Right.
I'm elaborating. Um, but excuse me, my brain went on like overload moment. So if it's like it went on a
I'm
lapse.
ADD, y'all, so
No,
it
it
happens.
went on a lapse. Like I knew I was getting somewhere with it. If you don't mind reminding me.
You were going back to purpose. And
Yeah, so the purpose aspect was I wanted to see more unified families. Despite the fact I experienced two failed marriages, but even before I went through my divorce, one, when I got married, I tried to create the life I wish I had.
mhm.
And like when I look back at it, this is 39-year-old Jason speaking in regards to late teens, early 20s.
Right.
But I always want to create the opportunity to increase, marriages, higher quality of marriage. And that was one of the reasons why I created my platform as I did too. So
Mhm.
you had to me advocating on behalf of the kids who reminded me of myself. And then as an adult, I wanted to create an atmosphere to create healthy dialogue between men and women, or however you prefer to,
Mhm.
interact. But initially, it was men and women. And I wanted to stop seeing so many broken families because it actually makes me sad.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. When Tea Time with Tara is business and Bible basics, and so when it comes to that, um, my perspective on like, we're not, I said it before in another video, like, I'm not religious, but I do love the Bible and the teachings and principles of the Bible. But I'm also able to use my own spirituality and my own knowledge, my own I'm forgetting the word that I want to say, but anyway, intuition,
Okay, okay.
perhaps. For the lack of a better word, I'll say intuition. And so with that, I kind of let people know, like if we were having this group in public, and just in my house with a group of people and we're all there, then I would let them know, there's good versus evil and there's God versus the enemy. And the enemy's goal is to separate.
Amen.
So his goal is to dispel the family, versus God is saying God is love and love your brother as this and build it up and, multiply. And it's not to multiply the way, the world is telling us today, like get out here and just throw your seed everywhere. That's not really what it is. And so, on one hand, we have depopulation, we have control, we have the new world order, one world, one religion, one whatever, right? And then on the other hand, then we have God, and saying, I sent out 12 tribes to 12 different places to be different,
Yeah.
and to still multiply. And I'm not saying that in terms of me teaching any of you the Bible or any of you my own stance. I'm simply saying that that's my perspective
Does it
on
feel
it.
does it feel weird that we even had conditioned our brains as real as we are and authentic as we are, that we have to keep giving disclaimers?
We,
Because
I don't
somebody
think
who
we
knows you should
condition.
know that you're not doing it with intention.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, so in this group, there are people that don't know me.
Oh,
There,
understandable.
yeah.
But
So in the group, there are people that don't know me, and even people that think they know me. Again, like people that may think they know you. If you don't know me privately and personally and intimately over a period of time, like one encounter can make anybody feel like they know me the way that I am. But if you don't know me continually, you may or may not take offense to that. You may not even understand it. Yeah, you can have a difference of opinion. Yours can be voiced, but mine can be voiced too. And
yeah,
so I think we live in a world where we have to give disclaimers because everybody's so sensitive and everybody's so,
what's
oh my
crazy,
gosh, include me and include me and what about me and what about you?
but the crazy part is, you said we live in a world we have to give disclaimers, but I'm assuming just based on the way I may be interpreting your energy,
Hmm.
that's not why we started doing what we did, but it's something we
No.
learned to do because of something happened that kind of trained us. Like, oh, let me give this, and then I can end up having a conversation full of more disclaimers than substance.
Well, I think we I would say you and I are kind-hearted people. Kind-hearted people generally anyway or genuinely we give a fuck. Period. So if I'm talking to you and you get offended by what I'm saying, I'm gonna be like, I apologize for hurting your feelings, or I apologize if it came off that way, because at the end of the day, we still want the message to prevail. We want the purpose to go forward more so than we do you feeling a type of
Mm,
way about who I am, why I said it, or what I
yeah.
said. We want the end. And that most people don't do that. So, some people that do know me and have been to Tea Time with Tara, they know that I preach stay in the room with conflict. If you are having a miscommunication, do not leave the room without
I
resolve.
love that you said that, because one of the things that frustrates me the most, that when people come across conflict and confrontation, they just immediately dispel and disperse, and you never get anything resolved. So when I was talking to you more behind the scenes about how I felt about certain friendships and relationships, and not to discredit anybody, but what I was alluding to is when shit get tough, motherfuckers leave.
Well, I mean, well, let that be the truth then, right?
But no, you're right. I'm just now on my journey learning to be okay with that,
Mm-hmm.
which is like when I was talking about I had to hit this breakthrough within my therapy yesterday,
Yeah.
and the other word that I was gravitating towards to was success.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody throws that, what many people throw around.
Success
See, see, I
as
had to get that disclaimer. You can't say everybody, but many people.
yeah, many people.
Yeah.
For you politically correct folks out there. But success is the second word that you need on your journey to stalking your destiny. Okay, and you were saying that.
But the reason why, and whatever, and success is deemed different person to person. It's just that for me as a man, it was important for me to be successful because I wanted to earn. Now I feel a little emotional saying this. I wanted to be good enough so I could be liked, loved, and cared for unconditionally for who I was. But that really means I'm not really liked, loved, and cared for who I am.
But that also means that maybe you don't like, love, and care for who you are unconditionally because you are still searching. You said you were doing shadow work. And
Mm.
I need a lot of people to understand this too. When you are doing the work to make you a better person, you are still learning to like, love, and care for you.
Yeah.
on that journey. And so most times what I've run into, because I advocate for men, so I can say this freely, I advocate for men. I've talked to several men. What I realize is that, and women do this too, y'all. So I'm not gonna, just eliminate women. Women do this too, but I advocate for men, so I spend more time in that sector.
Yeah.
And so there are men out here who are going on their journey for betterment, for self-care, for all of those different things, and they want this blindly from a woman that they don't even have for themselves. Women caught on already. We caught on to the self-love. Love me like I love me. Treat me better than I treat me, in terms of, like, I can go on a date by myself. I don't need you to go to lunch with me. I can go to lunch with me. I treat me well. So women have already started to set the standard, and it's kind of backfired a little bit. It's on one hand, it's very selfish, and on the other hand, it's not selfish at all. Because I posted about the self-care.
I mean,
You
it's
can't
about
be selfless without
balance.
putting self first. Correct. But if you are on your journey for self love, if you are on your journey to accepting who you are, changing, growing, and nurturing that, you cannot expect someone else to blindly come and give you unconditional love when you're trying to learn how to love yourself, and they see you trying and they're mimicking that,
Well,
that
to
try.
elaborate,
And they might be trying to do it themselves too. People can only
but
give what they have.
no, I agree because you saying a lot of things, but in a more elegant way. Um, I don't want to say women tend to do that. Well, not all women, so I don't want to minimize what
Please
you
don't
do.
put me in the
I know
book of all
that's why.
women.
See, get a disclaimer. I said I didn't want to say,
No,
but
I'm just saying it's me. I'm not.
no, but that's what I'm saying because I'm similar. Because even when you talk about what men do, I actually really always liked myself. I didn't understand for the life of me why other people didn't.
Or maybe you just didn't fuck with the people that did.
Now, shout out to that. The crazy part is, in more recent times, I learned to stop ignoring energy. And see, I use this analogy. And guys, I swear I got the hoodie on, and they got some professional cameras and lights in this thing. And I
And
was,
that vodka is hitting,
yeah,
y'all.
it's
Okay,
hot
it's
in general.
it's tea time with Tara. I ain't even got no tea, y'all. And trust me, this ain't
Man,
vodka
man, I'm
either. This
getting
is
hot.
Sprite.
You know, I'm saying, think about it now. I've been dating women in their 50s. They had hot flash, and they say you are what you eat. So I think I'm one of those motherfuckers right now.
Oh my
Those women in
god.
their 50s get hot easy. No, but the thing is like you mind where was I going? I'm finna hit somewhere.
Self care, liking yourself.
So the thing about it is, as I've been doing this rediscovery thing, I was accustomed to, and it can go back to like the relationship style, which I learned mine is fearful avoidance, and it's I would chase people that would run from me, but I would run from those who embraced me,
Say
and
that again.
I would chase people who are running from me,
Hmm.
not stalking. No. And then I will run from those who accepted me for who I was. And I'm just now learning to be okay with that. That, things don't have to be more difficult than I make it to be.
Hmm.
And even when I look at the relationships I was in, and no discredit to those women, the two marriages, one of them had transition, so RIP to her. Um, it was like I realized they weren't even confident enough in themselves to love me for who I was. And I think that's what hurt my feelings because one of them, I kind of love, we tried to do the right thing. We got married. The second one, I absolutely loved and adored. Like I left St. Louis, started out of my car to put myself in a position to pursue the one I let get away. And the Jason that some people see me now is not the Jason I was. Like I got these various journals and vision books and stuff. I have a lot of them. I
Hmm.
bought this journal on March 24th, 2011 at the Family Dollar by the Circle. But if you look through it, on March 28th, 2011, 1:06 p.m., I was writing about how I left St. Louis and only had $5 in cash, $5.36 on my debit card. That's March 28th, 2011. By my third day of living out of my car in Overland Park, Kansas, which I don't know if you're familiar with it, it's an upper middle class neighborhood. I
Okay.
chose that place on purpose because it's one of the top 10 cities to raise a family in. So I believe in power and words and affirmations and energy as a man thinks as a man is and stuff. But I get a job. I told these people the truth. I'm 27. I'm burnt bridges. I'm going through a divorce. I'm trying to get my life in order. Now look at this. This is the beautiful thing. I left on March 28th. I got a job on my third day, living out my
Hmm.
car. I got a check. I left on a Monday. The following Monday, I got a check. I'm going through April. I'm not the greatest with math, right? I don't know how good you are with numbers. I left on March 23rd, 28th. Sorry, Miss you guys time. March 28th, 2011. On May 2nd, that's a
Mhm.
little bit over a month and a few days.
Right.
I was moving to an apartment. I had a full-time job.
Mhm.
So when I talk about like why sometimes I come off a certain way, is because I know I operate out of faith. I knew I took chances. I knew I was getting results, but it was so crazy. Now I'm thinking about it. I don't know if the Spirit just gave this to me or what, but now I'm thinking about Moses. No matter what Moses showed his people, they still question this guy. It just hit. I'm talking about I'm talking about. I don't know the Spirit. Cause I'm learning how to be in tune to that, but it just hit me. It just, I promise you, it just hit me. Like no matter what they done saw, just like
And he
even
al
more so Jesus. No matter what Jesus did, the people that Jesus they rode with him for 3 years straight,
Mhm.
and they still, well, Peter still denied him 3 times for the rooster crow. They dispersed themselves. They seen all these miracles make them, helping a paralytic man walk, blind
Mhm.
man see, raise the dead feet. You know what? It just hit me. I need to shut up, man.
And I mean,
No, it just hit me.
and
Like
Judas, who loved him, still betrayed him.
yeah, but I'm telling you, it just hit me. So all these things is heartbreak and disappointment that I'm experiencing, which is human. People think I'm being woe is me, but it's not. And you actually through this platform in this midst of this conversation just helped me come to a different level of revelation and realization. Like, of course, if they did it to Jesus and everybody before me, who the fuck am I?
Exactly.
But we're human. So like even people like, well, if you believe in God, you shouldn't be stressed. But let's be real,
Who
even
said that?
no, well, some. So the thing about it is, even then, the day before crucifixion, and Jesus absolutely knew who he was, right? They said he was so stressed so much he was sweating blood. That's what they said, and he knew he was coming back, right? But he said, Father, if this cup can pass through me, and I'm
Take it from
paraphrasing,
me, yeah.
but at the end of the day, let your will be done.
Mhm.
And so, what are
'Cause
people are,
he was tired.
yeah, and what people are saying with me and my journey is now obviously I ain't on Jesus. I'm probably more like David than Jesus. I'm always fucking up. I'm the king of saying sorry.
I tell everybody to be like David.
Uh,
Be your real authentic self
David's
and
doing a
be
little bit too
real with
much.
God.
No,
Da-
I get what you're saying.
Just like all of us, we all do a little too much, but David was real and authentic with God, and he, like there was no secret. You didn't hide, he didn't hide from him.
And to be honest, when you say that, two of the books that I've written, I wrote them in streamline. You write as your thoughts come. Um, I wrote them inspired by the Psalms of David, because they're one's called Comedic Confessions, the other's called Comedic Confessions, Drunken Minds Over Tongue, which it really wasn't one about
Drunken mind, what?
sober tongue.
Sober tongue.
And it wasn't even about me drinking. It was about my mother who battled with alcohol abuse and how it affected my relationship with women because I used to steer away from women who did that because I associated with irresponsible behaviors. And then I ended up marrying a woman, no disrespect, awesome woman. She was an awesome wife, great mother. We just had a difference in our perspectives and how far we were willing to go in our faith. And so when I was reading through my therapist yesterday, these journals, I'm like, man, I really had loved her. Like I really loved her. Like if you read, it's like it was a beautiful book. I really loved her, and I was inspired by our love to continue to pursue our goals and dreams. So what people saw as self-sabotaging behaviors was here I go, I'm selling out all these venues. I'm breaking ticket sales records. I could show it on my phone, and I get access to all these venues because people know I'm a money maker. Even though I don't make it for myself because I wasn't motivated by that. It was the purpose. And but the one who I love wasn't there to see it. And so no matter what I was doing, I was just like, it ain't good enough. Even the house
Mm-hmm.
I live in an awesome house. I mean, it's in a area, but I never appreciated it because the woman I love didn't want to live there, and I didn't think we had to live there forever. It was just a stepping stone as we transitioned back to St. Louis. So this whole thing, and when I was talking about the breakthrough, this is the behind the scene conversation. I'm having all these conversations with my therapist. I haven't been in therapy in a month because of the holiday,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm pouring out more of myself. And what ended up happening is now I gotta go talk to the legal advocate. I go to the Father Family Support Center, and which was very humbling because I'm used to being on the other side. I'm used to being on the social working side, not the
Mm-hmm.
client.
Right.
Um, what happened is the judge, because I never thought to follow up behind my wife or anything because I didn't want to think like that. I thought we started having problems, a little challenges 2017, but 2018 was seen when things got more extreme. I never realized, I never looked at the divorce papers. The lawyer pointed out to me that she filed for divorce in 2016. I had no idea. That's a year I was traveling more, started my business. I remember when I got my first paycheck from my business and she had more of an attitude and she was proud of me. And I was like, and all of a sudden, I'm like, wow, everything started making more sense to me. And now the beautiful thing, what happened with that experience, I did cry yesterday. I cried as I was walking home after walking out there. I was so embarrassed. Like I had loved this. Everybody who knew it, they knew I loved her. They knew it. And it crushed my heart. And I lost myself for a couple of years because I actually had loved someone. And I put it, whatever fears I had, whatever issues I had in the past with childhood, I put all that to the side to be with this woman. And I said I wasn't gonna let that stop me. And I wasn't done growing and evolving. And I can't speak on how she perceived things. And I realized as I was getting ready to come here,
Mm-hmm.
I got where I got by not being rational. So in a lot of ways, I'm very successful. In other ways, I'm not as successful as people thought I could be. Even though it's not over with yet. And but I never use being rational. I would use rational in order to avoid like fights and stuff. But when it comes to my choices, I didn't use rationality. I went with how I felt, my heart. When I
Mm-hmm.
mean feel, like, oh, not angry, like I went with love.
Yeah.
And I felt stupid. So even when people see me out here being disrespectful, it's really like, this is gonna sound vulgar, especially you as a woman. I learned to stop being nice to bitches. And
Bitches and ladies are two different type of women.
well, and to be honest, I'm learning that because sometimes they look similar,
Yeah.
and I sometimes I get it mixed up. Because I tell people the last time that I was single, black people like Kanye West. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm almost 40, rediscovering who I am, and I don't even know how to talk to it. I don't. I'm like, what do
Yeah.
you say?
And I mean, I think ultimately as you grow too, then you learn like it's not even, bitches versus ladies or things
And
like
I
that.
wasn't saying that to be
It's
vulgar.
really,
I'm trying to drive home
it
point.
is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, but then, as we continue to grow too, and as we continue to do the self work, the self love, and all those different things, then it really just becomes what you will tolerate, what you're attracted to, and what you just don't involve yourself with.
But you know is this a conversation okay?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's flowing pretty well. It's like I got to a point. I remember I was in this stage of fuck love, just get some money, and I was doing that, but I really wasn't happy. And I thought I started like, okay, you know how you start trying to look at how people could look good on paper,
Mm-hmm.
but these are things that motivates me and inspires me. Um, Multiple generations always inspire me. Making an effort to be a service to people in my community. I do love entrepreneurship, and then I'll end on this part is 2021. God gave me a dream. He told me my route was harder because I'm an owner. He told me everything I'm going through is teaching me how to be a better businessman. Then he told me all my generational prayers are being answered. Then he showed me carrying a baton from my hand to the next. A week or so later, um, he gave me a dream. It was a black background with white letters, and I wasn't going to church at the moment. Now I do. I attend a Spirit Church, awesome place. Um, and I don't say that easily. So in the dream, he said, "Stop riding for people who's not willing to ride with you."
Mm-hmm.
Now that's probably why sometimes I be doing too much, which is not appropriate. Cause I be like, "Who the fuck gonna stand next to me?" Just like when you told me about the part, I had no idea. Cause he get easily embarrassed too. But I'm like, all this time, I'm like, why you just can't tell me how you felt? That's how I felt. Like it was a friend. Like, why you just tell me, man? Like,
I mean, to that point too, though, it was good that he wasn't doing that publicly.
yeah. But I'm talking
You
about
know.
private. Like, you know what I want to hear from them? That they love me and they care for me and they, they understand. But when men talk, they be so tough. Like, hey, what the fuck? And I'm like,
Yeah.
sometimes I just need to know you care.
But that's how God brought it back around to you, though.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and so sometimes we have to pay attention to uh the people and things that don't matter.
yeah, yeah,
Because I'm someone that was a stranger telling you, someone vouched for you,
yeah, yeah,
telling you that somebody that you love only had good things to say about you.
Yeah.
When it came to my first encounter of meeting you.
Yeah.
And so we have to pay attention to that too. Those are like God winks, of letting you know, like, you might have thought X, Y, and Z, but this was the truth.
And at the end of the day, I don't think nothing totally. I never thought nothing totally that person. It's just people communicate differently. So
Yeah.
I'm an emotional. I'm a INFTP, whatever they call. So the thing about it is, but also but and then I gave a woman a ride as an Uber driver, and she said she was from New Jersey. She said I don't go to church, but the Spirit told me to tell you clean your Bible. She said somebody in your circle praying against you. The quicker you come off, the faster you prosper. And then she said, God told her to tell me I'm about to go broke. It's gonna look bad, but it's for my benefit. And that's exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized I'm in the process what God had already revealed to me throughout these years. And then yesterday, um, I had this epiphany. Like, remember the movie The Five Heartbeats? And remember they said when Ducky Hound's brother cheated with the woman he was with? I mean, and they said the moment that his heart get broken, he'd be the greatest writer of all time. And everybody would say, man, the moment you get out your feelings, you're gonna be a beast in business. Yesterday, and I realized a woman that I loved and adored had no intention of being with me, even before I knew it. I knew that was a life altering moment, and I don't mean from an anger perspective. Like
Just
it's business.
So on that note, y'all, please do comment below as well because he hit on what inspires him. And so please do comment below on what inspires you, just in day to day or in this season of life that you are in. Let us know how you feeling, how you doing, and just know that you matter. And I think if anybody can take anything from Jason's sharing here today and his voice is that your journey's still going, and everything you've been through can be reviewed, it can be learned from. You can feel everything you feel, but it can ultimately be the push and the force you need for the success that's ahead of you. All right, so remember, everything you want to become, you already are.
Should I share my information? Or?
Yes, go ahead.
Well, my name is Jason Nelson. In particular, camera I should look in. My name is Jason Nelson. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Jason Nelson FOTF. I don't remember the TikTok. I feel old as fuck trying to do a TikTok. But my company's called Focus on the Funny. I produce and promote shows and events. I provide comedy services. We do advertisement where we write on behalf of other businesses. We help generate traffic. We use our platform to generate traffic towards businesses and different organizations. My next event, the date isn't quite clear as I'm ironing out the details. It's called Good Heart, Bad Decisions.
All right, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for the invitation.
All right, I am Tara M. Williams, y'all. This is Tea Time with Tara.